Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Tarun's Thoughts. My name's Tarun Shetty. This is my bedroom. Hope everyone's having a good day. You know, I feel pretty blessed because I'm stuck on my bed taking Percocets and I can just think all day and make videos. So it's a win for you. But I was thinking today. I was thinking a lot actually, and I was like, I feel really lucky that I'm able to just do comedy, which is really rare for me because I forget to be grateful at all for anything. But there's so many videos about like, hey, what's your calling in life, right? And I think I've actually watched all of them, from like Oprah, Eckhart Tolle, Tony Robbins, you name it, I've probably seen it. And it's all pretty generic, I think, really. I mean, you've heard it all, right? Like, what are you passionate about? Like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And sometimes I used to feel really confused about it. I still do sometimes. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a comedy writer. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to be a TV comedy writer. And so that was in my brain. And like when I went to college, I even went to NYU because I was like, this is where you learn. There's a lot of TV shows in New York, and I tried to get an internship on SNL, could not get it. So I ended up working on Spin City, which was just as good because it was the only sitcom at the time taping in New York, and I was the writer's intern. So I was like, I'm on course here. I'm on trajectory. And then I got another internship called Madigan Man to be a writer's intern. And then I interned at all these TV companies like MTV and blah, blah, blah. And then I was doing stand-up in college too. And then when I graduated, I was like, well, here's another option for me. I can be a performer. So I started doing stand-up. And then that took me down another course. And then years later, I'm like in 10 different directions. Like I produced a movie, I was making a web series, I was acting, I was auditioning, I was print modeling. I was in 10 different directions. And I was in a rough spot in my life. And I just needed to eject for a minute. And that's when I started working at United Talent Agency, which is like this great agency in Los Angeles. Like they rep all like the big stars, and I was an assistant there. And I was like, all right, I can do this. Maybe this is a career option. Maybe I can like rep comedy stars. Like I was just trying to think I was just grasping for straws here. And I remember it was such a great job. Like it was a good job. I mean, I liked the people there. I liked my boss. I was good at what I did. But I remember I was doing spots at the Comedy Store because I was hanging out at the Comedy Store since I got to LA. And I got to a point where they were like, hey, we're going to give you development spots, which means I wasn't past there, but I could call in for unpaid spots there. So they were giving me spots at the Comedy Store even when I was working as an assistant. And it was just so crazy because I'd work my job till like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And then I would go do development spots once, twice a week at the Comedy Store. And that was like my creative outlet. Like I was like, there's no way I can let go of this because I spent so long doing it. And I remember one weekend, this guy named Tommy, who was like booking the Comedy Store, he was like, all right, Darren, we're going to send you to La Jolla for the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I forget if I opened or featured. But basically, I was told that that's like the precursor getting passed at the Comedy Store, which is a big deal. And I was like, I have to go. So I ended up calling sick on Friday. I take the Friday off. I go down to La Jolla. And I remember that drive down to San Diego. And I remember thinking, man, I'm so free right now. I'm just like driving along. Like this is like the sun was like shining. And I was like, I forgot what that felt like to be free. Like no handcuffs. Just the Comedy Store never passed me, by the way, which is a whole other story. But just that feeling of connection to who you are as a person, again, right? You're not faking anything, was great. Like I could go say whatever I want on stage and talk to comics again and hang out. And so when my year was up at UTA, I put in my notice, and I remember like they were really shocked because even HR met with me. They were like, why do you want to leave? Like you're doing so well here. I'm also diverse. I think they wanted diversity at their company, and I was like, I just have to go. I'm sorry. I made up some excuse and left. I ended up getting another job at another company, but it was more like we had less hours, so I could do more creative things again. I could start shooting videos again, and I just felt more at ease, and I could breathe again, and I could shoot again. But it was a good lesson for me because now like I really value, even though like comedy is kind of messed up, like it's so hard to break through. You need like a lot of connections and it's very political. I do feel there's a lot of gratitude that I'm able to even do what I'm doing, and I've tried to just kind of narrow it down even more and compress that ball. So like right now, like, you know, I write my books, I make my videos, I do stand up here and there. I'm not a road guy anymore. I definitely try not to go on the road for long durations, but I've tried to just narrow in a bit more. The point of this is like there's intuition where you just know when something just feels bad. Even the jobs that you don't like necessarily are good things. Like they can teach you what you don't want to do in life, and they can just help you navigate the course, which has been huge for me. The only guy who I do recommend enthusiastically is this author named Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. He's so intelligent. His life story is incredible because he went from job to job up until like he was like in his late 30s, and then put everything together and started writing books. So I love that journey of what he went through, and it's a great moral to this. Like everything we do in life kind of comes together, and then you just kind of, you know, shoot it out like Ryu from Street Fighter in this giant fireball, and you're just unstoppable. Nobody has the correct answer. There's no like definite thing like, oh, just go here where like the road lights up and you just charge forward. Like you kind of have to go through the circuitous path. The important thing is that you're just always working and trying to just sharpen that blade. You know, you got to sharpen that skill set, because my friends who quit comedy, who like went on to took their job, like it's a muscle that can wear out. Even if it's not comedy, like they now make like dad jokes when they talk to them, I gotta like fake laugh. So you have to really be constantly working on yourself to keep that artistic part of you in check. So hope that helps. Have a great week. Take care. See you later.